We're getting weaker. Our senses are getting weaker because we rely on all this technology. We need eyeglasses, hearing aids. When we go in the woods, we're at a disadvantage. They're the ninjas of the forest. They've adapted over thousands of years to survive and elude us. And I'll give you an example. I spoke to Adam Davies last weekend at a conference in Illinois, or Indiana, sorry. Adam Davies is a world-renowned cryptozoologist. He studied gorillas and the pygmies and different types of indigenous people in other countries. And he told me this, and it stuck, and I believe it. You could be standing there in the woods, in the jungle, and a pygmy could walk up behind you, and you would never know that pygmy walked up behind you, right? Because they have to use that to hunt, to survive, right? Same thing with the Bigfoot. It knows how to walk without making noise, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, we do see them because they cross roads, and we do get those sightings. We got one not far from here in McKee, Kentucky. A sheriff deputy went on finding Bigfoot. Think about that. To go publicly, if you were a sheriff, 10 years ago, that's termination. They would fire you, right, from your job. But in McKee, Kentucky, Tim Fee is his name, he went on finding Bigfoot and said a Bigfoot walked across his front yard. It's more acceptable now. We have more academics and scientists on board. Dr. Jeff Meldrum is the leading academic. Dr. Jeff Meldrum has a PhD in anthropology, a PhD in anatomy. He has the largest cast collection in the world. Guess what one of the largest samples of his casts come from? Kentucky. And here's a few of them right here. Make sure you come up and take a look at these. This is one of those from northern Kentucky. This is a copy of Tom's cast, okay? Dr. Meldrum has these in his collection. He's pretty knowledgeable. It's hard to fool him with a stomper, So if he vouches for them, then I think it's legit as well. So we have a lot of evidence, but we don't have as a body, right? Why don't we have a body? Anybody want to take a guess?
Because they don't die.
Yep, that could be. They don't die. They don't die. So one belief, there's a theory out there that Bigfoots are the Nephilims from the Bible. In Genesis, we had Nephilims. The fallen angels came down, they mated with human females, and these are these giants, which in that case, they would have supernatural abilities, if that's true. They could go through portals, they could go to another dimension, they can mind speak, cloak, all those things. There's a lot of people that believe that Bigfoot is supernatural, and that's why we don't find a body. They go to another dimension and die, or maybe they never die. What's another reason we don't have a body or bones? Animals eat them. Bingo. So there's been studies on, I'll give you an example. Monster Quest did it. They took a deer carcass. They staked the deer carcass down. Guess how long it took for every piece to vanish? 3 days. If the Bigfoot found it right away, yeah. Come with me.
Alligators too do that.
Alligators?
They eat every bone, everything.
Right. Predators eat the leftovers, right? Coyote, porcupine. It took 1 month in that time-lapse camera, 1 month for every piece to be devoured. Okay? What does a sick apex predator do when it's sick? Hides. Yep. We know they go hide, right? They go to these hills and hollers we're too lazy to go to, right? We stay down where the trail, which is nice and easy to walk. When the Bigfoot goes off and is sick and dying, by the time, a month goes by, the bones are dispersed. They're devoured. They're gone. These are all speculations, by the way, right? We don't know. But I'll ask you this. Any hunters here? You guys hunters back there? You hunt? Yeah. You look hunters? Yeah, hunters. We have black bear in Kentucky, right? We got black bear here.
Yes.
You ever see a black bear skeleton in the woods? I've asked that all the time. I don't get one person that's saying they found a black bear. Again, predator skeletons are hard to come by. You follow me? And Bigfoot's even more sparse. There's less of them than black bear. There's not a lot of them, right? So another theory is they bury their dead, right? They watch us, they see us bury our dead. They do have families, they do reproduce. I tell kids this when I do libraries, hey kids, I hate to break it to you, there's only one Santa Claus, but there are lots of Bigfoots. This isn't one Bigfoot that's being seen around the world. They're living, breathing hominids that reproduce. We have witnesses who've seen 2 adults, 1 or 2 children, families. We've got eyewitnesses that have seen families of Bigfoot, okay? I believe Bigfoot stay in the same counties. I got the same physical descriptions over decades. I'll give you an example of one. In Anderson County, Kentucky, that's over there by Lexington, not too far from Lexington, Lawrenceburg area, there's a resident Bigfoot with the nickname Howdy. Guess how he got the nickname Howdy? He waves to people. So, follow me now. In the 60s, Mr. Tyndall reported this creature walked out of the tree line in his backyard and did this. It waved at him. So, same county in 2011, 2 teenagers also moved to Kentucky from Florida, right? See, I'm not the only crazy one. They were playing on their trampoline, and they reported this to the BFRO, which is the national database. Jack Smar, my friend, took it. They said, we were playing, and this big, hairy creature walked out of the woods and did this. And Jack goes, oh, you saw Howdy. Now, Howdy has been seen, again, in the same county or counties over decades. They don't migrate. It's too risky. As long as they have food, water, shelter, right? They don't need to move. We're not encroaching on them. Yeah, they live side by side with us. They're used to it. But it's too risky to go to Florida for the winter. Too many shopping centers and highways, right? So they kind of stay put. Howdy was not in the best of shape. We did have an artist that did a sketch based on the witness testimony. Howdy had a belly on him, right? Do you know why I think Howdy had a belly on him?
I got hold of some beer. I bet he got hold of some beer.
You're right. Do you know where this was?
No.
You're right. You're right.
No, I don't. I just.
No, that's no joke. The sightings are right behind the Wild Turkey Distillery. So Cedar Brook Road is there, and the Wild Turkey Distillery is right there, and that's where the sightings were. So he's hanging around, the Wild Turkey Distillery. I don't know if that's true or not. That's why he's got a belly on him. But anyway, so I base my testimony on my knowledge on witness testimonies. Witnesses tell us a lot, right? We don't have a lot of pictures or video of Bigfoots. There's not much. And I'll explain why in a minute. But the witnesses tell us what they look like, how they behave, and where they live. And that's what I base my knowledge on, plus my own experiences. So let's talk about pictures of Bigfoot. How come they're all blurry? How come we don't have more pictures of Bigfoot or video? Now, anybody right now, here's a test. And you can't play. I'll tell you why in a second. She can't play.
Okay.
Everybody else can play. Ready? Are you ready? Yeah. Take my picture. Anybody get it? Did you get it? Why? Why? It's going to be blurry. My point is, it happens so quick. These aren't like long sightings. They're fleeting glimpses of this creature crossing the road, or etc. You have to have your phone on record, basically. All right? So that's one reason. I do have other pictures and videos of Bigfoot. There's other ones out there. So here's another trivia question. And I have a little prize if you get it right. I got 2 prizes. So the first question is, of any film footage, not just Bigfoot, in the world, in the history of time, what piece of film footage has been analyzed the most?
One on the beach. What was that? One on the beach?
JFK.
JFK.
Oh, I thought you were
Cherie, you're killing it
He did
today.
well.
You're doing great, Cherie.
JFK is number 1.
I do watch some history stuff.
Good job.
Wow, thanks.
All right. What's number 2? Number 2. Bigfoot. Which one?
Sasquatch.
Yeah, you're getting warmer.
Howdy.
You're getting warmer. I need a name of the footage.
Oh.
You're close.
Is it that Sasquatch on the beach where he's walking?
It's not a beach.
Oh, it's the mountain that went out with the edge of the river.
They're really close. These
Yeah.
guys are close here.
I don't know the name of it.
I know. You said it's Patterson.
Patterson.
You're very close.
Oh,
I can't remember the name.
no, I had no idea about the name.
The Patterson Gimlin footage.
I know the one you're talking about.
It was filmed in '67 in Bluff Creek, California, of the one walking across the creek.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Bluff Creek is the name.
And it was blurry.
No, that one was actually pretty good. And they stabilized it. They took a digital camera, they took that old 9mm and took a frame by frame with a digital camera and put it back together and stabilized it. There are more anthropologists now that believe that's a living, breathing creature. Yes, there were hoaxers claiming to be the hoaxer. They wanted their 15 minutes of fame, and one guy produced a really bulky suit, terrible looking, not even close. If you look at the footage, you can see the muscles contract. Watch the documentary, Sasquatch Legend Meets Science. They analyze that footage and do a really nice job, and they explain why that's not a man in a suit. Okay? Now we have other stuff out there. There's stuff that's going around right now. I just saw it on TMZ. Well, was it TMZ? It's a costume. The Bigfoot sitting by a tree and some hikers on, he looks at him. It's an obvious costume. And what hurts us researchers is that stuff. Because people see all these hoaxes. So here's the deal. If I went out today, right, tonight, actually I'm going on a hunt tonight, matter of fact. If I got the best Bigfoot video now, it's not gonna matter. Right? People are gonna doubt it. Oh, it's fake. You staged it. It's not real. So I'm going to tell you this, it's going to take a body. I don't condone killing one, I don't want to kill one, but we need a body to prove it to the world, right? We have DNA from northern Kentucky, where these casts are. Up in Trimble County, the county next door is Carroll County, I believe. That's where they did a 5-year study on a Bigfoot named Matilda and her parents. So it's I could spend hours talking about that. I think that was legit, and they got DNA. Do you know how they got the DNA? So this started way back. An older lady was throwing food out in her backyard, like we do in Kentucky, right? We throw our scraps in the backyard, and animals come up. Well, these Bigfoot were coming up eating the scraps. One of the things they liked was pancakes with maple syrup, right? Who doesn't, right? So anyway, there was video of it. There was some pictures. A gentleman from Canada, Erickson, a big game hunter, came down, bought the farm, moved the couple out of the house down the street, brought in scientists to study these 3 Bigfoot in Kentucky. And they got DNA. The way they got it, they put a plate out with broken pieces of glass glued to the plate with maple syrup on it. And they got a little bit of blood. All right? Hey, at least in Texas, there's a group that wants to kill one. There is a Bigfoot group in Texas that wants to harvest one Bigfoot to save the species. Which I can see the argument for that. I would never kill one. myself. I couldn't do it. But anyway, here's what happens with the DNA, right? The DNA, most all the samples we've gotten all over the world has Homo sapien in it. And a lot of the academics say it's contaminated. And I even disagree with some people that are pretty prestigious in the field, and they say, oh, it can't have Homo sapiens, right? Well, I know the researcher, the scientist, she has a PhD in environmental biology, was hired for that project. She collected the sample. I'm pretty sure she knew how to collect DNA, right? With sterile gloves and so forth. It had Homo sapien in it, and then on the other side, unknown. So we have hair samples. I've got hair samples that come back unknown primate. The other problem with the DNA, there's nothing in the gen bank of known species. You can't compare it to a known species because we don't have the species. So just a couple of years ago, we realized we have 2 other hominid DNAs in us. Anybody know one of them? A few years ago, we learned this. We all have it. Neanderthal. You should sit up front. You're the best student.
I've done DNA tests.
You've done DNA tests?
Yeah, we've done, my whole family's done them.
Oh, yeah.
We are Neanderthal. It did show
Well,
us.
and I can tell this, my lovely wife here, Lindsay, she won't mind this, but my ex-wife, is probably why she's my ex-wife, had that test done. And at the bottom it said 2.3 Neanderthal.
Yeah, us too.
And I said I knew it, and then she divorced me. But fortunate for me, I got 3.0. Wife 3.0.
I got offended when the president started bad mouthing the Neanderthals. I don't know if you've ever heard him. I wrote him a letter,
Oh, you did?
and I got a letter back.
Oh, that's good. I love that. There's another hominid DNA. Do you know the other one we have in us? Anybody? It's tricky.
I've seen it.
Denisovan. So just a couple years ago, this is exciting. In China, a gentleman on his deathbed told his family 70 years ago he found this giant skull and he threw it down a well. He was scared, I don't know why, he panicked. He threw the skull down a well on his deathbed, told the family. They went and got it. We have it now. It's a Denisovan skull, larger than ours, large eye sockets, like we get reports from Bigfoot, heavy brow. Denisovan were larger than us. Neanderthals were actually shorter than us, but the Denisovans were bigger than us. So is Bigfoot a Denisovan, right? We don't know. Anthropology is very dynamic. We're learning daily new things, okay? But what's exciting too is that makes 7 different hominids on this planet in the last 50,000 years. 50,000 years is not long. We have 7 different of us, so to speak. Some with more hair, some bigger, which I believe Bigfoot is another one. We have too many credible sightings. Before I moved here, I was a teacher for 20 years in Louisville, Kentucky, at a private school. Kids found out that I did Bigfoot research, and they would sit at the lunch table. I'd tell them stories. They'd come to my classroom after school. Parents loved it because the kids were checking out books. The kids were reading. And they go, I don't care what they read, yay, good, they're reading. One day there's a knock on my door. It's one of the moms, and she kind of had a concerned look on her face, like, oh no, am I in trouble? Because this is a private school, She goes, no, my mother thinks she saw a Bigfoot. Okay, tell her to come see me, please. Weeks go by, there's a little tap on my door. This sweet old lady comes in. She goes, hi, I'm so-and-so, I saw the Bigfoot. Oh, great, come on in. She sits down in the student desk, and this is what she says. I was driving the Mountain Parkway. Now this is years ago. This is before I moved here. I was still living in Louisville. I was driving the Mountain Parkway. Do you know the sign to Hazel Green? And now, now they cleared the trees. They had it widened it so the trees are gone. Just past that sign, and this is what she told me though, before I get into the details. She said, She was a sweet old lady, like my late mother. My late mother, God bless her, when she would call me, she would tell me every single thing she did that day until she got to the point of what happened. Well, I got up and then I had some coffee, and then I didn't have any sugar, so I put honey in it. And like, I'm like, okay, Mom, what's the point now? And this sweet old lady kind of did the same thing. She's like, well, I was vacuuming, and The Price is Right just went off the TV, and the news came on. And this man came on the news talking about Bigfoot. And he got up there and he showed how the Bigfoot walked. And he did this. I can't swing this arm. She goes, I about fell over. I sat down. My mouth dropped. I go, oh my goodness, that's what I saw on the parkway that day. It was late in the day. She's driving the parkway headed towards Hazel Green, about 12 feet past the sign. Again, it was all wooded. It was trees back then. This man, all in black. And I said to myself, well, why is he wearing all black? And where's his truck? You know, as she's driving, she's talking to herself. He stepped over the guardrail, went across the parkway with the arm swing, went into the woods on the other side. She goes, I didn't realize it until that man told me or showed me how it walked. It walked the same way, the arm swing, right? The long stride. She goes, I saw a Bigfoot. So that's exciting. It's right there, just past Hazel Green, right? I've got dozens of reports in the gorge. Lee County, Wolf County, Powell County, Lee County. There was a spot in Lee County, follow me on this one. I can't tell you where. I was in Tennessee on a Bigfoot expedition with the BFRO up in the Cherokee Mountains. And these two big old country boys from Kentucky, and I started talking, I'm from Kentucky too. Again, this is before I moved here. I lived over by Louisville. They go, well, I go, what happened? Why are you guys believers? He goes, well, in Lee County, Kentucky, we were in a hunting cabin. The cabin is tiny. Had two doors, a front door and a back door, had bunk beds and another cot. The teenager was in the cot, we were in the bunk beds. All night long, something was hitting the cabin and we heard monkey-like gibberish. Kind of like the samurai chatter, right? That you might have heard. Just that weird monkey-like gibberish, and they would open the door and yell, because we're gonna hunt early morning, we were gonna hunt. We were yelling out the door, hey, who's messing around needs to stop right now. It never stopped. It got so bad, hitting the cabin and the monkey-like gibberish, both men opened up the front and back door and started shooting into the dark. And then it went away for a while, then came back again. It didn't go away until their buddies showed up at the break of day. And then the gibberish and the hitting of the cabin stopped. That was in Lee County. Same area. One of the guys says he was He was hunting on his land, sitting next to a tree, and there's a big meadow, and the sun's not quite coming up, it's foggy out. He's in full camo with his rifle. Again, 6'4", don't want to mess with him. He said, somebody was on my land trying to make a dove call. It sounded like a 300-pound dove. And he knew it wasn't a dove, and he yelled, he goes, hey, who's on me? If you're on my land, you need to go. Whoever that is needs to go now, and I'll stop it. He was mad. It did it again. Real loud, like a loud, heavy dove. And he yelled at it again. About the third time, a rock the size of a softball, a rock comes over the trees and sticks in the mud next to him. What was that? Who's going to throw a rock at that man with a rifle, right? I wouldn't. We think that was a Bigfoot maybe, right? Because they do imitate other animals. We hear stories of that. So that was in Lee County right there. I'll give you another story. And this is why I say they don't hurt people. We have a researcher in our organization. His name is Don Neal. Don Neal's down by Owensboro, Kentucky. Don Neal is a pastor. He preaches the gospel by night, hunts Bigfoot by day. Oh, got an umbrella. Oh, look at the hospitality here. That is service.
Probably won't fit.
You have to stand and hold it.
Where's Ripley go? Let's go over there, Remy, where that umbrella is that that young lady took out.
You can
Oh,
sit
there you
here
go.
if you'd like.
Thank you, honey.
So here's an exciting encounter, okay? This is an example of why they don't hurt us. So Don Neal was in Logan County, I think it was Russellville, Kentucky, on a little radio station. Don Neal went on, and you know there's some people out there that don't have internet. This gentleman did not have internet on his farm. He had an old transistor radio, you know, the kind with the knobs and the red thing that goes back and forth. He was listening to the radio and listening to Don Neal talk about Bigfoot. He calls in, talks to me. Here's his story. He goes, I was out working my garden around dusk. And you don't know what witnesses are going to do. I'll tell you that right now. Witnesses do the craziest things, right? He goes, I was working my garden, it's about dusk. I look over the fence, and in the tree line was this big hairy creature. And this sweet old man goes, it's okay. You can come closer. I won't hurt you. Who would do that, right? He's talking to the Bigfoot. So he said it again. It's all right. Come on over. I won't hurt you. And then he had the rake in his hand. He thought the rake is scaring it. He laid the rake down. He said for a third time, it's okay. You can come over. I won't hurt you. The Bigfoot stepped over a 3-foot fence, walked up about 20 feet from him. This is still daylight now. It's dusk. He can see it clearly. He's standing face to face with this Bigfoot. 8 foot, long arms, broad shoulders, gray. This one was gray. Big black eyes, wide hooded nose. They have noses like us. They don't have a nose like a gorilla. And that's another reason I think they've got more Homo sapien in them, because they have a hooded nose. Also the warmer climate. That's another reason. But he said it looked kind of human-like. I get that all the time with close encounters. The witnesses said it looked human-like. I get that a lot. Another reason why I think they're closely related to us. And he stared at it. And the other weird thing, so get this, if you're making up a story, right? Who's gonna say this? If you're making it up. He goes, the bangs on the head look cut. The hair on the forehead was straight across. If you're gonna make up a story, why would you say the bangs look cut, right? I would say, oh, it's straggly, it's hanging in the face, or it's just it's a weird thing to add. He goes, finally, after a bit, I decided it's best to go in the house. So he turned, walked back towards his house, and before he went in his house, he looked back. The Bigfoot is walking away behind his greenhouse. The gentleman goes in his house, takes 2 potatoes from his garden, opens his back door, puts the potatoes on the railing of his deck. Before he went to bed, he looked out the back door. The potatoes were gone. Yes, another animal could have taken the potatoes. But this is a mutual respect. I've got daytime sightings, nighttime, close encounters where the Bigfoot does not hurt the person. And I can't say this for all of them. You might get one on a bad day. They have different temperaments, personalities like us. So I can't say all of them are like that, but generally speaking, they know to keep their distance. Think about it, right? If they attacked us, we're gonna have a manhunt, a hunting party, we're gonna go out and extinguish them. They know they can't do that. To survive, they gotta keep their distance. Makes sense, right? So they just observe us. And I've talked to some people earlier about having an encounter. Do you know the best way to have an encounter in the gorge or anywhere else? Don't wear camo. Don't carry guns. I know you need a gun for protection for other reasons. I never carry a gun. I know I should. Again, for other reasons. You don't want to be threatening. They know what hunters do, right? They're going to leave. If they see you dressed in camo, they're not going to stick around. But if you're happy-go-lucky campers and hikers, you go out there and act normal, non-threatening, entertaining. You're in their living room. We are their entertainment. We're their TV, right? You laugh, cook food, play music, do what you do, and they're curious. Their biggest weakness is their curiosity. That's how you fool them. You get them to come close, get them to observe you, and then try multiple tree knocks, rock clacks, whistles and knocks. whoop, and knocks. Combinations. I've got recordings I'm going to play today. I've recorded a Bigfoot multiple times. And on one of these recordings, I'll give you $500. You heard it here. $500. I'm going to play this recording. If you find another known animal in Kentucky that makes this sound, you heard it here, I will give you $500, excluding Bigfoot. You can't say it's a Bigfoot because I believe it's a Bigfoot. I'm talking known animal that's proven to science that makes these vocals. And here's what's exciting. I'm going to play these in a second. These same whoops I recorded in 2013. I was with Tom Shea in Trimble County, Kentucky, where all these casts come from, eyewitnesses, hair samples. We were on his location, just him and I. We're cooking bacon because we wanted to bring him in, right? Who doesn't love bacon? About an hour after burning the bacon, we're burning it. This is like 3 o'clock in the daytime. My recorder, just a simple recorder. You don't need a fancy one. The microphones or make it. I buy highly sensitive mics that they're omnidirectional, any direction. I had my microphones in the tree line away from us. I'm going to play this now, and then I'm going to tell you more about it. Yes, question.
Are there more sightings at a certain time of the year, a certain season?
Yes. Do you know why there's more sightings in the fall and spring? Because we're out. They don't hibernate.
Gotcha, because I'm going to go to Coomer Ridge in the winter and I'm going to winter camp.
Yeah. We have sightings all year round. They don't hibernate. But it takes 2 things to have a sighting. A Bigfoot and a witness. And you know why Kentucky's in the top 5 in the country? Because we live side by side, right? We have farms right out here. You got a farm with deer, and we live in their backyards. That's why we have so many sightings in Kentucky. I think there's more up in Canada. You know, they got a lot more territory. We don't live side by side with them. But Kentucky, we're lucky because we live in their backyards. But I'm going to play these whoops. Let me turn this on.
Power on. Bluetooth connected.
Sorry. That's not the good. Stop. Remember, I'll give you $500. It's on my website. You can go to my website, download it. There's no known animal that makes these vocals in Kentucky. Well, yeah. I can see it. That's a bird, that's a bird. That's good. That's good. Hear that? Now, I will tell you this. I recorded those. I recorded those in 2013. Just recently, Thinker Thunker, he's a guy on the internet that analyzes Bigfoot videos and audio. He's been wrong a few times, I'll be honest. We all make mistakes on our analysis. Ron Moorhead recorded the Sierra Sounds. The Sierra Sounds almost 50 years ago in the Sierra Nevada mountains. It's a Bigfoot language. There's hours of it. You can go look it up. Scott Nelson is the crypto linguist for the Air, I don't know if it's the Air Force, it's the military. He deciphered it and said it's a language. There's multiple Bigfoots talking. Google Scott Nelson and the Sierra Sounds, right? Just recently, Thinker Thunker took out whoops from 50 years ago. He went online, he found my whoops on my YouTube channel. And he just did an analysis. You got to find it. It's amazing. He compared them to human whoops. He does a whoop. Ron Moorhead did a whoop 50 years ago. They have one set of vocal cords. You can see it. On these whoops in a spectrograph, it shows two sets, two tones. And he shows, it does a nice job of it. He said, this is a match. My whoops match Ron Moorhead's from 50 years ago. You got to watch the video. It's incredible. Because I used to say $100. I used to offer you $100. And now, once he said that, I go, okay, I'll give you $500 because I'm even more confident I captured a Bigfoot. Let me play some more vocals for you. Sorry. There's some more.
What you doing? What you doing? What's he doing? You're pretty. You're pretty. Yeah. That's pretty. That's a good baby.
Did you hear the human-like tone to that? Now, you know as hunters and you're coyote, you're camping, there's the alpha coyote, right? He's different, he's loud, that was, to me, not an alpha coyote, that was different. The coyotes did go off afterwards. We think there's a relationship with the coyotes and the Bigfoot. The coyotes follow the Bigfoot, right? Makes sense. Scavengers. I even think they might even hunt together, and I don't want to get into all that. I have some experiences on that. They travel together. Other examples of that scream, I've heard it many times. Then the coyotes go berserk. A little while later, on another ridge, I hear that scream, and then the coyotes go off again. They're following the Bigfoots. So when you have coyotes in the area, that's a good sign that there's maybe Bigfoot in the area as well. I'll play another one. Sorry, there's another loud one coming, sorry. Sorry, I can't see it.